everyone, I'm Ethan Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The search for survivors is continuing after a 7.2 magnitude earthquake rocked Taiwan on Wednesday. The strongest quake to hit Taiwan in 25 years left at least 10 people dead and over 1,000 others injured. Rescue teams are now focusing on Hualien in the country's east, where hundreds of people are feared trapped in collapsed buildings, badly damaged hotels and tunnels. Rick Lauer reports from Hualien City.
Given 15 minutes to pack up their lives. A day after Taiwan's massive earthquake, these residents in the eastern city of Hualien dash to collect belongings from their homes, deemed unsafe and likely facing demolition. This 25-year-old has lived here with her family for the last 7 years.
很心疼，很不舍，然后很遗憾，就不知道，就是没想到有一天这种事会发生在自己身上。
Measuring 7.2 magnitude, the midweek quake was the worst to hit the country in 25 years, damaging roads, bridges, tunnels and buildings. At least 10 people were killed and dozens injured. This building in the centre of the city housed 77 people. When it was built 30 years ago, it conformed to safety standards of the time. But building regulations were dramatically reformed after the last large quake in 1999, a disaster which took more than 2,000 lives. Hualien is a port city tucked between Taiwan's central mountain range and the Pacific Ocean. Its 100,000 people rely on only 2 roads and a railway line to connect it to the capital, Taipei, the country's economic centre. All transport has been disrupted by the massive quake, making travel difficult on the eve of an important national holiday, when many people in the cities head back to their hometowns to spend time with their families.
未来长久之计，我们需要一条安全回家的路，还是最重要的。所以还是请中央务必要正视我们这个花莲对外连外交通的问题。
In the mountains around the city, search and rescue operations continue to find those trapped by landslides. Residents are seizing the chance to grab what they can with the time given to them. But they say it's not long enough to fully take account of their losses. Justin Wu and Rick Lauer in Hualien for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's Northern Science Park evacuated all staff following Wednesday's earthquake, and some companies halted production line as a precaution. The park houses over 400 high-tech firms, including leading chipmaker TSMC. Following inspections, TSMC said a small number of tools were damaged, but none of their critical ones. To discuss the earthquake's impact on the global chip supply, which heavily relies on Taiwan, our reporter Joyce Sun spoke to Vice Chair of Tech Insights, Dan Hutchison.
Following the earthquake here, tech firms like TSMC, NVIDIA, and Foxconn have reported minimal or no damages to their systems. But are you expecting some business impact from the temporary shutdown of some production?
I'm actually not expecting a lot because a lot's been learned. I mean, the 1999 earthquake was a real disaster. Semiconductor facilities were really shut down for several weeks. And it took a long time before they could even get back into the fabs because some of the gas lines had broken and leaked out. Today, it's a lot better. They have a lot better protocols. They learned a lot from that earthquake. You make sure all the equipment is properly bolted down and you build it to earthquake standards to be able to do a 7 or an 8 Richter scale.
As you're describing, there's quite a big difference in the impact and recovery between the September 1999 quake and this one. What is your biggest impression from TSMC's response this time?
So much of the world relies on TSMC today, and Taiwan is a center of global manufacturing. And they know that. And they also know that because the world relies on them, they have to be really, really perfect in terms of how they handle this and make sure they don't have a disruption. And the one thing that I've noticed, particularly with TSMC in the last 10 years, is how they've become much more conservative in terms of these sort of supply chain risks that they're willing to take. And I think the fact that TSMC could report they were up at 70% is amazing because I remember in 99, there were fabs that they couldn't even get into the fab for a week or two. So it just shows you how much progress they've made in terms of the safety and supply chain security of the fab and the safety to the employees too.
Often concerns about TSMC and Taiwan's chip supply focuses on China's threat to invade Taiwan. But of course, Taiwan is prone to typhoons and earthquakes. Does this earthquake add to or change concerns about supply chains?
I mean, we've known this. I mean, if you knew anything about the history of Taiwan and whatnot, you would have known about the 1999 earthquake. And so it's not like this is a big change. We've known about the earthquakes when people were talking about moving, like getting TSMC to move to Arizona or to move to Japan. Earthquakes were part of the equation there. But it is important for them to diversify in order to maintain the confidence, because the worst thing would be is if the world lost confidence in them. I don't think that this earthquake has shaken the confidence in TSMC's ability to supply the world semiconductors.
That was Joyson speaking with Dan Hutchison, Vice Chair of Tech Insights. Despite Wednesday's massive earthquake, people in Taiwan are still sticking to their travel plan for the tomb sweeping and Children's Day holiday long weekend. There's heavy traffic down Taiwan's west coast, the opposite side of the island from where the earthquake occurred, as many head to tourist destinations in the south. A major road near the epicenter in Hualien remains blocked by fallen rocks. To get around this, ferries have begun operating between Hualien and the port further to the north. Families around Taiwan are returning home to pay respects to their ancestors for the annual Qingming, or Tomb Sweeping, festival. But one clan in Taiwan South is staging a family reunion on an unrivaled scale. Reese Ayers has the story.
A family reunion of epic proportions. Almost 200 descendants across 7 generations, all surnamed Chiang, gather around the graves of their ancestors. It's the first day of the annual Qingming, or Tomb Sweeping Festival, in much of the Chinese-speaking world. It's a time when families visit the graves of their ancestors to pay their respects. And here in the outskirts of Tainan in southern Taiwan, members of the Chiang family have travelled across the country to take part in remembrance activities.
因为每年回来这边其实人都蛮多的，那也很高兴说江家有维持这个传统，就是每个清明啊，或者说过年过节的时候，大家都会回来祭祖，还有这种慎终追远的观念，我觉得很重要。因为像我在花莲那边读书，然后就有看到很多个部落的文化是断掉的，然后我很高兴，就是我们江家这边有把这个文化留住。
Traditional tomb sweeping activities include cleaning graves and burning joss paper money, so as to give ancestors prosperity in the afterlife. Ancestor worship is common across many East Asian cultures, and the head of the Chiang family estate, the largest intact single surname clan settlement in Taiwan, thinks it's important to pay respects to those who came before.
追思陪亡的嘛，大概伫咧100-200人啦。上长辈的辈分是19代，上少年的来到25代。做先祖安尼所留落来遮的物件吼，大家是受益良多啦。啊，等下陪亡嘛是一个追思啦，吼啊，大家嘛真欢喜，吼啊，每年会当来祭祖。
Rituals of ancestor worship can be practiced all year round, but it's particularly important during the Tomb Sweeping Festival. More than a chance to remember those no longer with us, gatherings like these are a time for the living to reconnect with their families, no matter how big they might be. Alex Chen and Reese Ayers for TaiwanPlus.
Rising temperatures are biting into lychee and longan harvests in southern Taiwan. Farmers in Yunlin County say certain varieties could see a 20% drop in yields. Yunlin cultivates tens of thousands of lychee and longan plants, but unusually high temperatures in February mean that fewer are flowering this spring. The Agriculture Ministry has made relief funds available for affected farmers. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website and follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we go, check out this lake in southern Germany. The deep purple color comes from sulfur bacteria on the surface. I'm Ethan. Take care, and I'll see you next time.